and underneath. So you're following the line of your thumb all the way across, and then this hand then becomes a supporting hand, and you go back the other way. So again, you're using both hands to support and to walk. And here you're going all over the organs, down to the waistline. Okay, so in your head, you should be thinking you're working the organs. This is the area that you're working, is this mid bit here. Okay?
Walk across from waistline to heel.
Yeah, so you're going to do exactly the same thing. The reason I've put those in 2 points is because you need to start thinking about where you are anatomically. So that's why I've split it, so that you can think diaphragm, waistline is organs, and then down here, when we walk across, you're into intestines. All right, so it's the lower digestion. That's what you're working on now.
So it's not necessary that you would pause, you would continue.
You could continue all the way
down.
but I want you, when you're learning, to remember exactly where you are. So that's why it's in 2 points, okay? Not because you have to pause, that's a good point. You don't have to pause, but because I want you to think about the areas that you're working on anatomically.
There's a lot to remember.
There is, I know. It is a lot to remember. I do sympathise that it is a lot to remember, but the more you do it, the more it will go in, I promise. Okay, so now when I get to here, I might want to go down here and work on the heel. So I'd come up, I'd slide down, and I'd support. All right, so I can do that because I'm not putting any pressure on the knee. I'm not lifting you like this. So if I lift you like that, compared to like that, you can feel it more in your knee. And then you can come round with the other hand, and you can do the caterpillar walk. Always supporting with your fingers, either here pressed in or here pressed in. And you can get right round and up into the heels.
I can feel the crystal.
Okay?
Right, so then it's cover right foot and repeat 1 to 14 on left foot with rotations on heart in point 9.
Okay, so you do exactly the same. I'm just going to cover both feet because obviously for demonstration purposes. So I would then do exactly the same on the other foot. I'm not going to do that because I think, you need to just get working on it. But then you would do rotations on the heart. Now the heart is one of the main points that jumps around a little bit in foot maps. Okay, when I'm working the heart, I tend to work about this area here. But on some foot maps you'll find it here, on some you'll find it here. So you need to decide what you believe it is and where you think it is from your own research. This is, for me, is always where I work the heart. Okay. Yeah, so it's about zone 3 to 4. Okay, so down zone 3 to 4. And it's above diaphragm line, just about a third of the way above. Because to me, anatomically, that makes sense as to where the heart is. If you think about that, about where the heart is in the body, it makes sense to me that it's kind of where it is, where the heart beats. But again, it's one of those ones that jumps around. So, journey of discovery. Where do you think? You tell me where you feel the heart is. Not, all these foot maps could be wrong, but this is where I'm drawn as a reflexologist to work. Okay? And I know that'll frustrate those of you who are probably like everything to be told in exactly the same way, but a lot of reflexology is about feeling. It's about learning to feel what you feel in the feet. Okay?
Right, I've uncovered both feet. On left foot, walk down esophagus from shoulder to waistline.
Okay, are you all happy for me to carry on so we can go through this? And would you rather stop and do that bit and then do digestive separately?
No, it's good. I mean, then we can just practice the whole thing.
Yeah? You all happy to do that? Sure?
Yes.
I need a unanimous yes.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. All right, so we're going to come down from esophagus. So esophagus runs down here between zone 1 and 2. So we need to pull back. We're going to come down. So here I need to make sure that I'm covered. I'm just going to put some talc on. Okay, so please ignore my talc putting on skills. I'm doing it very quickly. Right, so we're going to come down esophagus. Yep.
Then walk over stomach, pancreas and spleen.
Okay. So, who was it? It was you that spotted spleen earlier, wasn't it? Yeah, well done.
So what you're doing is walking over the entire stomach.
So I'm going over the entire stomach. So now I'm thinking by organ. So now I'm going stomach. And then pancreas kind of comes across the other way. and spleen. Now, again, if they've got a really weakened immune system, just doing a few rotations on the spleen is really good because it's an organ of elimination. So as we were talking today about all these organs of elimination, the spleen's a really important one. So a few rotations on there. This is all just additional stuff that I'm telling you at the moment. So don't get too hung up on it. Yep.
Right, on right foot, walk over liver, gallbladder, duodenum and pancreas.
Okay, so now I'm going to move without breaking contact, step 1, step 2, and I'm going to do the same area again. Okay, so the only difference on this one is I'm going to do duodenum. Now duodenum, what did I say it looked like? Can anyone remember what I used the analogy that a duodenum looked like?
A C.
A C shape, a bit like a macaroni. Okay, so it's here. So you come down, it comes round the waistline. Now what I would do, because I don't want to get in your way, but what I would do is move myself round so that I'm not twisting my shoulder. And this is possibly the most awkward move that you can do in the whole routine because you can't kind of really get down there because you can't stand up, so you need to do it seated. So just get yourself down in the seat. So what you're doing is using this part of your thumb to come round and kind of back on yourself round. Yeah?
Walk over small intestine.
Okay, so can you remember the small intestine? Is this area here, isn't it? Where we've got the wrinkles. So we're going to come back round again. Sorry, I don't want to run over your toes. I'm going to straighten out those wrinkly small intestines, and I'm going to walk medial to lateral. Okay?
Right, then find and rotate the
Ileocecal valve. So the ileocecal valve is kind of
appendix.
okay. Is kind of on the top here of where the heel comes across. So you come up and you find it, and you'll find like a little dip, and it's in zone 5. You want to find a little dip and just do a rotation. Yep.
Walk up ascending colon across the transverse colon.
Okay, so I need to get myself into position again. I'm going to come up. So ascending colon comes off of ileocecal. I'm going to come up, ascending, and they go around the small intestines. So it comes up, across, down, sigmoid. So ascending and transverse. The transverse is below the waistline, if you think anatomically about where it is. Yeah?
Walk up ascending colon transverse. On left foot, walk over small intestine.
So now, so that you don't do small intestine, you're not swapping too much. You've done all of the intestine there. You're then going to clear small intestine again from this side. And working again, other hand, medially, laterally. Yep.
Walk transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum and bladder.
Okay, so, did it say rectum and bladder? Did it say rectum and anus?
No, it says rectum and bladder.
Oh, okay,
Then
sorry. It
it
should say
goes-
rectum and anus. That's an old
Because then
copy.
the bladder's actually on the right.
My apologies, that was one that we corrected ages ago. I think he's printed it from the old one, so sorry. Can you cross out bladder and put anus? So we're going across, transverse, then we're going to come down, descending. And then this is the one that comes round and then's got a bit of a smile at the bottom. So we're going to come down into a point, round, and then here you'll find a little dip underneath the bladder. We know where the bladder is, don't we? Because that's that puffy bit that we located last time. And you're going to come down and round, and that's into rectum and anus. Okay, so what you're doing is you're clearing the intestines. Now, do you remember how I said to you, this is why I believe, because it's an organ of elimination, we should work in a clockwise fashion. So always remember to do it this way round, so that you're coming up, across, down, and round. You'd never work the other way.
On the right foot, walk bladder outwards.
So, we're now going to do like a fan for the bladder. So, I come round again, get myself into position so I'm not twisted, and I'm going to come out in a fan about 3 or 4 times out. So from this point here, if you can imagine, it's a bit like a flower. So you're following the lines of the feet as they come over. And the reason we work from this main point is because... Next bit.
Oh, sorry. Slide up the urethra and walk kidney.
Okay, because that's where the urethra fixes into the bladder. Now, when we slide up, this is purely for location. You do not put any pressure, because again, it's like going the wrong way up the tube. But it's really easy. Rather than going from there and trying to then locate into kidney and adrenals, if you slide up, because you're on that point, you've done the fan, okay, you get back to that point, and then you can rotate, which helps you to slide up so you know exactly where you're going into kidney. So it's a location move. There's no pressure whatsoever. I can't stress that enough. We do not ever want to see that. All right, you're walking up the wrong way. So we're going to slide up, and I'm going to locate. Yeah, slide. So it's a slide with no pressure. Have I stressed that enough? Are we all with me on that? Good. Okay, and then we're going to work into kidney. Okay. Yeah.
Then hook into adrenal glands.
Okay, adrenal glands are quite hard to find. Generally, they're under the diaphragm line, just